Here we are, back again, with the last 50 villains. Excluding any more villains that I might have forgotten. Someone told me last episode that I forgot Chagall, and I felt like less of a man.
There is no meme. This is just a threat.
Welcome back to Google searched FE villains. Not really much to explain here. I'm just gonna put the name in Google, and we're gonna see who comes out. So our first villain is Volter. I can't think of anything else named Volter, so this is probably just gonna be Volter. Oh, whoops, caps lock. Yep, it's Volter. There is a movie named Volter that it could have been, but nope. This is, in fact, Volter. One of the best examples of just an outright despicable villain. I love him so much, he is a horrible being. He will burn in hell for all eternity. Out of curiosity, it would be Walter White, right? Yeah, his... the fucking dog. Volter's Japanese name is Walter, so I was just curious. But Volter is Volter. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to do something that definitely is not me looking up how to spell Gaelic correctly. I am pretty sure that it's an Irish name, I think. But it... Alright, hold on. That's his Japanese name? What the... Kethelwida? What the... That's not a real name. Japan is lying to me. Well, there it is again. Regardless, Gaelic is made out of Gaelic. He has a ridiculous cowlick, by the way. Gaelic cowlick. There's something there. But it looks like, at least for right now, our first two Sacred Stones villains are themselves. Leon, however, is going to be different. Lyon's just a place in France, isn't it? Isn't this just going to be French? Yeah, Lyon, France. It sure has buildings. A nice river going through it, looks like. It looks beautiful. I'm sure it has a lot of value to the land of France. Oh, I didn't know France owned that island over there. I thought that was just part of Italy. What goes on in that island over there? Corsica. Or Corsisa? Well, regardless, that sure is France. So, the main villain of Sacred Stones is now a city in France. You will have to fight the entire city, Erica and Ephraim. Crap, I forgot the Demon King. Well, Fromortis is just going to be Fromortis. But if I, out of curiosity, if I look up the Demon King, I'm getting a novel by Cinda Williams Chima. A 7 Rounds novel. I'm also getting Ganondorf. And some anime slop. But mostly the novel. Alright, well, consider that the unofficial spot. And now for our last villain that I remembered. Reeve. That's just Reeve. Remember when this guy was excommunicated from the church and they refused to elaborate on that and then he died? Irv. What is with the Japanese names? Irv. What happens if I look up his Japanese name, out of curiosity? It's some kind of breathing thing in your lungs. Huh. Well, regardless. So far, the only Sacred Stones villains from this episode that have changed is Leon, who is now French. I'm sorry. Now, next up, we have ourselves Oliver. There are so many Olivers in the world. The first Oliver I'm thinking of is Oliver Twist. That's who I think of. And we're getting a film about Oliver Twist. Alright. Sure enough, not only is he an orphan, he's also British. You know, absolutely horrible. But it's okay. He makes it out alright. Just him, though. And one of the other boys, but, you know. A classic. My dad, whenever I would, ask for seconds at the dinner table, he would always speak in the cadence of Oliver Twist. Please, sir, can I have some more? My dad was very big on portions. I was not allowed to eat too much as a child. Not to say that he starved me, I just wasn't allowed to eat. I wasn't allowed to gorge myself. Which is very telling that once I moved out of my father's house, I put on 30 pounds. My old man might have been onto something. Alright, anyways, enough about me being fat. We're moving on to Patrine. Patrine kind of sounds like latrine, and that's like a toilet. But I got nothing about Patrine herself. Oh, it's just more Patrine. Oh, that's some fucking wicked fan art. Regardless, this is just Patrine. Another good example of just being a bitch. She doesn't have a complicated backstory. It's implied that, she has a brand, and that could be why she's a little fucked up. But for the most part, she's just a bitch. Much like Walter. Now I'm calling him by his Japanese name. There's no grand reason, she's just a piece of shit. And that's cool. Good for her. Unfortunately, for the sake of this show, she hasn't had anything changed. Now, we're gonna move on to the Black Knight. I put him here twice because, you know, the Black Knight's a very generic name. I thought it'd be very fun to see. And we're getting a comedy from 2001 by Martin Lawrence, who is quite literally a Black Knight. Huh. So, judging by the fact that I think that's an Eagles jersey, I'm just seeing green and thinking that he's Philadelphia. Oh. It's an isekai! Alright, he works at basically legally distinct medieval times. And then he wakes up in medieval times. Alright. Seems simple enough. Could lead... It's got... Oh wow, this is apparently a really fucking good movie. It's got 2 nominations. Best Screenplay by the Black Reel Awards. And Best Sound Editing. Alright, well, you know what? Maybe I should put this movie on my watch list. And then there's the Monty Python Black Knight. The Marvel Black Knight. The Black Knight's a very generic term. So, as I expected, we got something. We've got 2 movies, which I don't know how that works. Does that mean Ike's arch rival is now Martin Lawrence? I guess so. Alright. Next up, Ashnard. I can't think of, It's just gonna be Ashnard. Yup. God, he looks so cool. The art direction for Fire Emblem from, FE5 to FE10 is immaculate. I don't mind the Shadow Dragon art style as much as most, but going to it from this. Big man, big dragon, big sword. That is all you need, and that's all we got. God bless. Remember when his entire character motivation was put in a boss conversation between him and your refreshed unit that can't fight back? Path of Radiance is fucking weird in some ways, man. Alright. Now, we're moving on to Radiant Dawn. You'll notice that I omitted 2 of the Great Riders of Dayan. Bettram, I think his name is, and Bryce. They show up, they're one-off chapter bosses, essentially. Like, I think Bryce might have been in one other scene. When you're thinking of Path of Radiance's main villains, you're not thinking of Bryce. Also, I wanted to have an even 100, and combined with the characters that I forgot before, yeah, we're good. Ignore how Lahran is in here twice. Because with Radiant Dawn, I put Jared, the main villain of Part 1, Ludwig, the main villain of Part 2, the 4 Benyon Senators, Valtome, I think his name is, Numa, Hetel, and Lacane, Izuka, because fuck him, Diginsi, I'm not going to pronounce his name correctly, Zelgius, because I decided to separate him from the Black Knight, and then I put Safrain and Lahran to see if either of their names were different, and then I also am realizing that I forgot Lavale. Look, there are like hundreds of antagonists in this series, forgive me. And then Ashira. So that is why I went with that lineup. The only omission I'm noticing is that I did 100% forget Lavale. So, let's just start with Jared. Now, because his name is spelled with an O, I actually don't know any like this. Alright, we've got some dude from the Road 96 wiki. What the hell is Road 96? I do not care about you, Stormgate. Alright. What the hell is Road 96? Okay, so this guy's gonna be, you know, what I do. But I'm gonna look, what is Road 96? Is it like a game? Looks like it's you drive around, you make choices, and then those choices affect what you see as you drive around. Alright. Well, I could learn a lot more about this, but I do not like being on a fandom wiki any longer than I have to be. So, now the main villain of Part 1 is a psychotic taxi man. I speed read his thing, so he might not actually be a villain. He looks kind of cool. He looks cool. Definitely looks cool. Alright, Ludwig. We're just getting the guy from Fire Emblem. God, this guy's so stupid. He's like, haha, yes, I have plunged my entire country into turmoil as a test to see if you could survive a country in turmoil. Fuck him. You literally... Alincia's Gambit would be like the best map in the series if Ludwig's death didn't cause it to be over, and Ludwig put himself perfectly in horror range. Like, what the fuck is this guy's plan? He doesn't even look that cool. At least Jared looks slimy. You look like the word lacrosse. Alright. Now we're moving on to the Benyon Senators. At least one of them. Valtome! It's still him. I don't imagine a lot of the Benyon Senators are going to be different. Unfortunately. I don't even remember this guy's shtick. Didn't he speak effeminately or something? I don't know, the Benyon Senators outside of... Well, not outside of Lacane and Hetel, because that's half of them. I don't give a shit about Valtome. I can't remember anything about him. His design's unique. Like, I definitely, like, you could show me a picture of Valtome and I'll immediately remember who he is. But I got nothing interesting to say. Now, Izuka, this fucking bastard. Let me make sure that I'm spelling... Now, Izuka is just a Japanese name. So, okay. Sure enough, he's the first thing that shows up. God, he's another example of a good, smarmy bastard. Fire Emblem's really good at that. But out of curiosity, who was it almost? A Scottish actress. Okay. You were almost in Fire Emblem. Also a motorcycle? That looks like the shit Shadow the Hedgehog would ride. That's cool. But yup, we are getting a lot of Japanese people because Izuka is just a Japanese name. But, no. Oh, wouldn't it have been funny if we got Daisuke Izuka? One of the artists that works on Fire Emblem. That would have been really funny. That's an isekai I'd watch. Alright, but Izuka is made out of Izuka. Now we're moving on to Numida. Oh! Okay, it's a place in Uganda? Oh, there's Numida right there. It's also a type of bird. Well, this came up first. Is it safe to click on this? It's a loan company for African micro businesses. Download the Numida app, apply minutes, receive capital within a day. Alright, it's a loan company. I am immediately distrustful of loan companies, but that might be because I'm a Yakuza fan. I feel like they might give loan sharks and such a bad rep. Or maybe Yakuza is trying to say, don't trust loan companies. But, because I'm choosing to believe in the goodwill of mankind, I'll believe that Numida just helps struggling African businesses prosper and make a profit. I'm going to choose to believe that. Could be wrong. Alright. Hetel. I got nothing. Oh, well, there's Hetel. But we also have this fucking guy. Pierre Hetel. Another French person. A French editor and publisher celebrated for his extraordinarily lavishly illustrated editions of Jules Verne's novels, highly prized by collectors. Ooh. Looks nice. Let me see if I can't find more of his work. That's George Hetel. That's another Hetel. I'm not quite... Well, regardless, I can't stick on him forever, but he looks dapper. He wrote novel illustration covers. Fine by me. I don't know what is he reaching for in this portrait. Is he about to shoot the photographer? Kind of based. Alright. Oh, hold on, I did not crop that correctly. Forgive me. Not that, you know, good crops are what this series is known for. Alright, there we go. That's even worse. But who cares? Now we're on to Lycain, who is a much more major antagonist. Very well. There he is. Oh, this is probably his namesake. Regardless, there is Lycain. That fucking smarmy bastard. Again, smarmy bastard. It's really good. And it's another French name. Alright, have I been uncovering some secret conspiracy that Fire Emblem just really fucking hates the French? Like, I knew Fire Emblem hated women and dark-skinned people, but do they also hate the French? I think they also hate the French. Alright. But Lacane is, in fact, made out of Lacane. Did you know that, he was engaged to Astrid? A lot of people learn that Astrid marries Makalov, and, like, they get really upset. She could have had it worse. She could have had it way worse. Astrid, you need to be saved. I don't know how, but you need to be saved. Alright. I'm gonna make really sure that I don't spell this name wrong. Alright. And it's Steve Harvey. The realization that once he came to Fire Emblem Heroes, everyone was like, wow, he just looks like Steve Harvey. And now I can't unsee it. Like, you know how Hank Hill has a long-lost Japanese brother? Steve Harvey has a long-lost South Asian brother. Look at him. His design's really good. His dragon form looks cool. And I'm a big fan of Tellius going, centrists are fucking stupid. Big fan of that one. But, there he is. Alright, after that we have Zelgius. I put him here because I thought, you know, the Black Knight namesake is different enough. And sure enough, there's Zelgius. God, the CGs in Radiant Dawn and Path of Radiance look so nice. But he is... Forgot they made an art of him just with his tits out. Yeah, that's Zelgius. He's made out of Zelgius. Now, out of curiosity, if I did not forget Lavale, he would just be Lavale. Okay. He would not change. He's just Lavale. Alright. Nothing of value was lost by me forgetting him. And while I'm here, what if I forgot Chagall? I would have gotten a beautiful abstract, not really abstract, I don't think that's what it's called, a beautiful painting. I would have gotten a beautiful artist. I swear to God, if this guy's French. He's French! Alright, well, that's a blunder for last episode. Alright, what was I doing? Right, Safrain. Let me... Or Sephirin. I don't know why I added an AI to the end of his name. Sephirin. Yep, he is himself. Huh. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about how every villain has a French namesake. Like, I'm uncovering a conspiracy here. Anyways, yep. Sephirin is... Why do I keep calling... Why am I thinking that his name has the I right there at the end? Anyways, Sephirin is Sephirin. But that's not his real name. What if we did his real name? Oh, that was auto-correcting there. That's what I want. And it's still him. Yep. Both examples, he is himself. Look, I know Fire Emblem is always like, oh, we let bad guys join our ranks all the time. Am I the only one that thinks Laurent being able to be redeemed's a little much? Am I the only one that thinks he shouldn't be allowed to be a good guy? After all the shit he did? Is that just me? Might be just me. Alright. Then we have Ashira. This is just gonna be... Radiant Dawn is just gonna be itself. No, it's a cat! Well, goddamn! Alright, let's go to the Cats Wiki. What is an Ashira cat? It's a hybrid domestic cat breed. It's a mix between a serval and an Asian leopard, and a domesticated cat. Its average cost is $100,000. I wouldn't even buy a human being for that price, let alone a cat. And there's a Shira right there. It's just a cat with spots. I don't even like cats that much. I'm gonna spend $100,000 on a cat. God damn. Literally a luxury few can afford. Alright, so good news for Ike. God has become a cat. Not too much changed with Radiant Dawn, but Tellius overall, still not much changed. Half the senators changed, Jared changed, but then once you get to the tower, most of the names are distinct enough that it doesn't change very much. But, we now have Awakening. And Awakening, I'm a little concerned about. Because this is when the series has become mainstream. So a lot of these characters are probably just going to be themselves. I'm hoping this entire bottom chunk here doesn't not change. Then I won't have much to talk about other than my passing comments about my feelings about the villains that someone in the comments will probably complain about because I only am talking about it for like a minute and I'm not giving a full thesis about my thoughts and explaining it. Anyways, for Awakening, you have the main villains of each of its, like, arcs. Gangrel, Walhart, Valadar, and then Grima. Robin there represents Grima. The tier list maker doesn't have Grima on its own. Then I put Aversa, because she's breasting boobily around in the shadows the whole game. And then I put Walhart's cronies, Exilus, Cervantes and Exilus, and then Yenfei. I felt like this was an adequate representation of Awakening's villains, and I don't think I forgot anyone that's not just a one-off chapter boss. But, regardless, with all that shit out the way, it's time for Gangrel. Oh, he's a wrestler! Really funny, I put a Cody Rhodes bit as the top tabs gag, and we got a wrestler! I'll admit, I've only kind of sort of been getting into wrestling recently because two of my friends are really into wrestling. Shout out to my boys Bowling Ball and John. I love you both. But I don't know who this guy is. He's a wrestler. He wrestled in the 90s. He returned in the early 2000s, and now he's in an independent circuit in Ohio. Alright then. His thing seems to be the vampire fangs with the tongue sticking out. Alright. Professional wrestlers have a 50-50 chance of being the most racist motherfuckers or the coolest guys you'll ever meet. And I'm hoping this guy's the cool one. I'm hoping he's more a Cody Rhodes and less a Hulk Hogan. Actually, hang on. His resolution was too high. And we're gonna... And now it's gonna be this pixelated photo. That's what I like to see. I want you to count the amount of pixels on Gangrel. Alright, Yenfei, I'll admit, is probably gonna be him. I don't know if Yenfei is a common name. No, it's Yenfei. Probably gotta be one of the dumbest of the Camus archetype. But in exchange, he was one of the coolest concepts for the Outrealms characters. So, you know, take what you can get. His design's pretty neat. See, alternate universe Yenfei where Seiri died is a decent spot pass concept instead of Gangrel lived somehow. But regardless, Yenfei is Yenfei. Next up, I need to make sure that I spell Cervantes correctly. So, Cervantes. It is, I swear to God, if you're French, I think it's a Spanish name, isn't it? Spanish language. Oh, right, he's the author of Don Quixote. Alright. Fire Emblem at last tells us the French aren't the only villains in the world. Spanish people are evil too. Which, if you live in South America, you already knew that. That reminds me, last episode I made an allusion to the fact that I angered all of Brazil. And we were like, what the fuck did you do what did you do to Brazil? I mistakenly made a comment believing that the language Brazilians speak is Spanish. Brazilians speak Portuguese. I know that now. And I will never make the same mistake again. I just was vaguely aware that Spanish conquered like half the fucking South American and Central American world, and figured that Brazil was part of it. No. That's my fault. Forgive me, I'm an American. I don't know much about what's not American. Whoop whoop! America! Fuck yeah! Coming to save the world and shit. Oh. Exilus is health insurance. If there's any business I trust less than loan sharks, it's healthcare. There is something deeply hilarious about my, yeah, America's great, and then it immediately shows me healthcare. That, oh, there's a cosmic humor to that. And it's only funny because if I don't laugh at it, I'll cry about it. Exilus is great. He's like, I'm the mastermind pulling the strings. And Walhart's just like, no, I knew what you were doing. I didn't give a shit because it was funny. God, Walhart's so fucking cool. God, his helmet is stupid. Why does he have the antlers? If you just remove the fucking antlers, he has one of the best villain designs in the series. Because, like, Edelgard has horns, but those horns aren't, like, obnoxiously sticking up a solid foot over her head. Like, imagine if Walhart just lost the headgear, and he just had the long flowing cape, the long flowing white hair, the no pupils. God, he's so cool. I like villains, and Walhart is one of them. Alright, Valadar is probably just going to give me Valadar. Yep. There he is. Don't think too hard about how the main villain of the game, at least in regards to who's manipulating things, has dark skin, while his child, the good guy, is white as a snowflake. Don't think about that too hard. Valadar's kind of weak. I never really liked him that much. And in regards of evil old men with evil books and evil plans, I think he's just like the worst. Reeve, Manfroy, Garneth, I think they're all better than him. The plot twist of him being your dad is kind of cool, but that's really all he's got. And even then, it's not that compelling. Maybe if you learned a bit about your mother and how you were as children, and you could have had, like, an Arkham from Devil May Cry kind of thing going on, but no. No. V. Just like Devil May Cry. See, we're bringing it back. Alright. Aversa. I am averse to any information about something else named Aversa. Oh, it's another place. Alright, it is in Italy. Aversa's Italian. I am not giving you $2.75, Wikipedia. Not right now. There it is. It's just a place in Italy. It was laid to waste in the Gothic Wars. Damn. And I guess this is its population? Oh, demographics. Yeah, population. Its population seems to have peaked in the 80s and has kind of stabilized around the low to mid 50,000s. It's a lot of fucking people. Oh my god, I'm sorry, this is probably racist as hell, but I was like, there's no way that the Italians have a pizza church. It's Piazza. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just gonna copy that. Gonna hit that, and we're just gonna move on. Alright? We are just moving on. I'll admit, I'm pleasantly surprised by how many Awakening characters. Like, it's a good balance of people still themselves and funny things to discover. Grima's just gonna be Grima, though. Alright? Like, there's no way that Grima isn't big enough. Yep. Though I do like that it was trying to autocorrect to Grimace. Remember that weird trend like a year ago when people were pretending like the Grimace milkshake was gonna fucking kill you? What was up with that? I had that milkshake. It was pretty good. Grima's cool. First of all, fucking look at it. I think Grima works in the same way that the Demon King works, and that there's not really a complex reason. They're just... The concept of the threat they present is more important than actual motivations and shit. I know that Fire Emblem Heroes tries to, like, wooify Grima and make them, like, this tragic thing. Like, no, they're fucking evil. Echoes shows that they're a fucking abomination of alchemy. But, like, Grima was just a fucked up dragon that caused the end of the world. And you had to time travel to beat him. And that was cool as shit. Android fucking 17 and 18 ass bitch. Alright, but Grima's cool. And Awakening's done. Now it's time for Fates. Which, due to how many routes and shit there are and how much I didn't want to think about the concept of revelations, I probably forgot some. But what I ended up deciding on was Kodata, because you fight him in all 3 routes and he's just a villain who kidnaps Kagero. I think, no, that's just in Birthright he kidnapped. No, Conquest. Anyways, he's a fuck, and you fight him a lot. I thought he was enough to be considered a main villain. Zola, again, you fight him a lot. He has that whole bit in Birthright. Hans and Iago and Garen, like, they're just villains. I don't need to justify them. Anthony, Arete, and Anankos. I probably forgot some major players. And if I did, shut up. No, I didn't. Alright, so with that out of the way, let me scroll down and make sure that I do not misspell any of these names. Because there's a lot of them. The page I'm looking at to figure out if that guy's name is Kotaro, right? Like, his name... No, his name is not Kotaro. God, hang on. Okay, you know what? We're just going to start with Zola. He is a... He's a French novelist, first of all. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. However, we are first seeing Gianfranco Zola, who is an Italian football manager and former footballer. Alright. And he has some good accolades. Alright. I don't really care about football that doesn't involve the American football. Woo, woo. Lamar Jackson's gonna do some good shit as he always does. Baltimore's winning it all this year. That's what I tell myself every year. God, it's a good time to be a sports fan in Baltimore, let me tell you. Orioles are good, Ravens are good. That's it. That's all you need. If I remember correctly, I think his name is Sumeragi. No, Sumeragi's, Makoto's husband and the father of, like, characters, I think. What was this douchebag's name? I'm blanking on it. Kotaro. It was Kotaro. I just clicked on the wrong thing. I'm on the wiki to see the names. I clicked on Kilma instead of Kotaro. So anyways, I'm gonna look up Kotaro. What is wrong with that baby? Kotaro lives alone. It looks like it's an anime about a child. A Yakuza child, if the knife and how that guy is dressed is any indication. A lonely little boy moves into a ramshackle apartment building all on his own and makes friends with a broke manga artist that... Who the fuck let this baby get an apartment? He is not capable of understanding the financial woes of home ownership. He do be looking fresh with that sword, though. Well, regardless. Korin will now have to fight a baby. Good luck with that. Alright, Hans. That's just a German name. I'm thinking Hans and Franz. Oh, right. The fuckboy from Frozen. Right, of course. That would be who shows up. Frozen. One of the biggest movies of all time. That would definitely... Yeah, that makes sense. I don't have much to add because while I really do like Disney movies, I'm not a Disney adult. I don't necessarily mean that as like an insult, because, you know, Disney does make really good movies, and a lot of their movies are the greatest of all time. I watched The Lion King. I go, that was a good movie. And I'll think about it, and then move on with my life. My favorite Disney movie is Emperor's New Groove. I damn near wore out the VHS of that. Love that movie. So fucking funny. Anyways. Alright. Now we're moving on to Iago. Speaking of Disney, this is just gonna give me the fucking, No, it's not! It's going to give me Iago's namesake before the fucking bird from Aladdin. Aladdin's another good Disney movie. It gets a lot of shit recently because there are racist elements, for sure. I'm not gonna act like there isn't. But... it's fun. Anyways, who the fuck is Iago? Oh, he's Shakespeare. He's the villain from Shakespeare. Huh. Othello was not one of the Shakespeare books I had to read in high school. I read Romeo and Juliet, then I saw that dog shit Leonardo DiCaprio movie, and then I read Hamlet. Hamlet was the one I had to read. It's pretty good. Okay, so Iago is from Shakespeare. Alright. Wow, all of Fates' villains have changed. I'm very pleased by that. Now, I'm gonna have to be very sure that autocorrect doesn't change Garen to Ganon. Yep. There he is. God, Epee is so good. Like, Epee's art of a young Garen very much shows the through line to Xander and Leo. Like, you can really see it from there. And it's such a good interpretation. And then Epee's fuck-ass drawing of him for Heroes with that goddamn smile. Just like everything else in Fire Emblem Fates, Garen is so close to being amazing. As he is, he's just kind of... But God, he could have been so cool. Even still, he looks cool at least. Like, that is an evil king if I ever did see one. But Garen gets to say himself, Anthony! Remember the clever deceptions of Anthony? Man, I can't believe he was evil. And we're getting Anthony Hopkins, a Welsh actor, one of Britain's most recognizable and prolific actors. He is known for early movies, The Lion in Winter, A Bridge Too Far, Elephant Men, Hannibal Lecter! Oh, he's Hannibal. He's Hannibal! Not the man that almost conquered Rome with elephants. No, he's Hannibal Lecter. He will silence your lambs, or whatever the fuck that movie's about. Well, now Corin has to deal with Hannibal Lecter. He's more of a psychological threat than a physical threat, but he's a threat nevertheless. Alright. And now I need a ret. Eret? I don't fucking know how she's pronounced. Let's see what we got. It's a type of landmass. An arete is a narrow ridge of rock that separates two valleys. It is typically formed when two glaciers erode parallel U-shaped valleys. Aretes can also form when two glacial cirques erode headwards towards one another, although frequently this results in a saddle-shaped pass called a col. Huh. What a fascinating thing I've learned that I will immediately forget about. So if it's a mountain-looking thing between two valleys, it's an arete. Alright. Arete is also a goddess of some kind? Huh. Alright, well now Corin has to fight a whole-ass mountain. But Corin does have the benefit of being in a valley. I don't know if that's even a benefit, but it's something. Alright, Anankos. This is just gonna be Anankos. Right? Surely. Oh, I did mean Anankos. Thank you, Google. And there he is. Again, really cool concept. I'm not too sure if I like his dragon form. Like, it definitely looks unique. But Corin's dragon form also looks unique, and I like that dragon form. When Corin looks like this, the design is terrible, but once she becomes a dragon, looks way cooler. But still, he's decent. God, thinking about Fates really makes you think that it was almost the greatest Fire Emblem ever made, and then that just makes you mad. However, there he is. I feel like whether or not I think Anankos looks cool just depends on when you ask me. I don't know how I feel about, like, the inside of his mouth being that eye thing and all that. I can't tell if that looks stupid or looks cool. Regardless, that's Fates. A lot of them actually changed. Corin now has to kill a child. And a football player. And Hans. And Hannibal Lecter. They've got their work cut out for them. Alright. It is time for 3 houses. Now... hang on, I'm trying to... Okay. 3 houses has a few. You'll notice that Edelgard and Rhea aren't here. I did them in my 3 houses video. So, yes, depending on what route you pick, Edelgard, Rhea, Dimitri, actually not really Claude. They all can be antagonists, but I've already covered them. And before you ask, yes. Oh, that's actually something. People like, what the fuck? You did a villains list and you put Renea? More accurate to say I put antagonists and not villains. But, God, It is so funny that advertising made Kranya look like she was going to be something important, and then she just wasn't. She just fucking dies. Almost immediately. That's kind of a sick design with those, like... What would you call them? Tentacle protrusions? They're more like tails. If this were like an action JRPG and those tails were used to strike you and attack you, that'd be really cool. Kranya just fucking dies. Oh, that was so funny. But Kranya is in fact made out of Kranya. Arundel! I forgot Arundel. Even though he's Solomon, so like I technically didn't forget him. I don't know, Three Houses has a lot of moving parts. I almost certainly forgot some. Anyways, there's the Death Knight. I did Yuritsa, I believe, in the Three Houses video, so that's why he's not here as himself. But the Death Knight. That's not how you spell knight. That's also not how you spell knight. Hang on, what if I remove the the? Alright. So, if I don't have the, it looks like I'm getting something from World of Warcraft. Which, I think I shouldn't have the. Oh no, it's not the, it's, not World of Warcraft, it's Dungeons and Dragons. It's a type of enemy. Right, because it's fantasy. Oh no, there's Death Knight. There's also a Death Knight in World of Warcraft. So this is the first one that came up. It is a gamer article about Dungeons and Dragons. So it's the Dungeons and Dragons Death Knight. Not the, World of Warcraft one. I never played World of Warcraft. I played Hearthstone. I was actually in the top, like, 1% of the world in Hearthstone Battlegrounds. What does that mean? It means I'm a fucking loser. I wasn't even really that good, I just watched Kripparrian. Anyways, Cornelia. I need to make sure I spell her name correctly. Cornelia. It's a flower, right. And also God. Cornelia, mother of Garachi. Oh, I just saw this art and thought it was a god. I'm done. Cornelia was the second daughter of Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus, a Roman general prominent in the Second Punic War. Oh! Alright, more Punic War stuff. Much like Hannibal. Alright, her husband died, and then she said no to marrying a king so she could just continue learning and educating her children. Rock on, lady. Education and shit, yeah. As for the villain, Cornelia, I don't fucking know it. Who gives a shit? What does Cornelia even do? She's another one that kind of like, she's around for a few chapters, and then she dies. I think the only interesting thing about her is she's a body double put in by Twisted, and the, like, actual Cornelia was, like, a pretty cool woman. I think she invented plumbing. I don't know. Alright, Solon. Solon. I have a Solon problem. He's another philosopher. That is one of the most Greek men to ever Greek. He's one of the 7 sages of Greece, and is credited with inventing one of the men who invented democracy in Greece. Huh. He created debt relief. Huh. Alright, he looks like a pretty cool guy. Alright. Score 1 for the Greek philosophers. Good on you. I'm surprised that these later games are actually changing as much as they are. Alright, next up, Tellius. He's one of the big ones for Twisted. And he's another Greek philosopher. That's where their namesakes come from. I guess they're like all Greek philosophers. He is also one of the 7 sages. I'm beginning to see the trend here. He did math and shit. He thought the earth floated on water. Well, you know. Such is how them older men believed. God, one of my favorite memories of my father is he loved that show Ancient Aliens because he loved to get angry at it. So one time, there was an episode where they were like, were all the ancient Greek gods aliens? And I was like 9 or 10 at the time, and I was like, I thought the Greek gods were just how people who didn't have the technology to understand science understood science. Like, they didn't understand how the earth, like how the sun rose and set. Oh, that's just Apollo. How do clouds make lightning? They don't know about the formation of clouds and shit, and it's just Zeus. And my father, like, he stood up and yelled at the TV, if my fucking 10-year-old can get it, why can't you, Giorgio? Or whatever the main dude in Ancient Aliens' name was. Things we've learned this episode. Fire Emblem hates French people, and I love my dad. Alright, what's next? Nemesis. This is just Resident Evil. Let me make sure that I'm spelling it correctly. Even though I was about to... It's just gonna be fucking... Yeah, it's Nemesis. Resident Evil 3's big fucking dude. I have vague knowledge of Nemesis. I'm using this picture instead because it looks cool as shit. I've played Resident Evil 4 and 5. Those are the only ones I've played. I'm not really a horror guy. I get scared very easily. But Nemesis is cool looking. It's got a rocket launcher. It's hard to not be cool there. Alright. I remembered fucking Alfrick and not Chagall. Anyways. Alright. I need to make sure that I don't fuck up this guy's name. So I'm gonna have to scroll through. There we go. I love when everyone said he just looked like a beetle. Because he does. Fucking love the Beatles. Let me make sure that that is A-E-L... Yep. And there he is. Alfrick. Really cool guy. I liked him. I really liked Three Houses DLC. It continued the trend of the story DLCs for Fire Emblem almost always being hits. Awakening, Fates, and Three Houses and Echoes all had really good story DLCs. I didn't care about Engage enough to buy theirs, but I heard people were less kind to that one. But I don't know, then again, that could just be people being bad at the game and blaming the DLC for it. There are many such cases, who knows. But regardless, Alfrick is fine. There we go. A lot of Three Houses villains changed, actually. Yeah. We have a D&D enemy, 2 Greek philosophers, a woman who chose education, some good shit. Nemesis, look, I don't know how Edelgard's gonna beat a rocket launcher. What Gambit protects against that? I'm gonna be real with you. Alright, and now we have Engage. Engage was easy. I put the 4 Hounds, Vale, and Sombron. Simple as. The reason that Marver and Vale are here are because I forgot them when I was doing my Engage episode. So they're here now. They're not villains. I know that. I just forgot them, and I'm making amends. Alright. Next up, we have one of the most fucked up little guys. Let me make sure that I'm not spelling his name wrong. Shall we? Up-a-dup-up-up-bum. So it's making me go through all the bond rings before the villains on the wiki. Give me a second. I could edit this out, but you are stuck with me. Ha ha ha. Here we go. Antagonists. Really? The wiki's telling me Hyacinth is a... I mean, I guess. I guess he counts. Alright. Gris. I can't think of anything that would be Gris. Yeah, there he is. He's actually the only villain in Engage that I kind of liked. I love my fucked up white boys who are absolutely mentally deranged. Komaeda from Danganronpa. 9S from Nier, once he gets fucked up and deranged. I don't know, it's just fun to watch an absolute lunatic be an absolute lunatic. And Chris, oh, he's a lunatic, alright. Yep, but he is himself. God, what the fuck was your name? Marnie or something? Marnie. Marnie is one of the funny, like... God, Marnie is such a funny character in concept. She's a pair of slippers. She is just a... She's a slipper. Not a slipper, a flip-flop. That is very clearly a flip-flop. And it's a shoe brand. A fashion shoe... Just a fashion brand. But the first thing that came up were their flip-flops. So congratulations, Marnie. You are now a shoe. Remember when Engage gave Marnie a sad backstory right the fuck out of nowhere? Like, literally the entire time she was talking on that boat, I was just like, oh, they're about to kill her off. Oh, she's about to die. Like, so dumb. Anyways, Marver. One of the few Engage characters I actually kind of liked. Let me make sure that I'm spelling his name correctly, though. Yep. Oh. Oh, thank God that Safe Search is on. That's probably gay porn over there. Which, I mean, I don't quite know what gay men are into, but from what I understand, Marver definitely ticks those boxes. It's because of the beard. Something about that beard I know drives gay men crazy. I don't know what it is. Gilliam has a similar beard. I don't know. I don't have to understand what they're into, I just have to respect it. And to be fair, Marver is really cool. Alright, there we go. What the f... Celestia or something? How do you spell this woman's name? Zephia. Celestia. What the fuck is Celestia? Alright, before I look up what Zephia is, what the hell is Celestia? Oh, it's the good guy version. Okay. Got it. I wasn't insane. From the Fell Xenologue, right. And here's Zephia! And we're back to the AI art. We almost got through the whole video without me bitching about AI art. Fuck AI art. It's an evil industry. If you support it, I hope your balls get crushed by the Mickey Mouse Dick Crusher. And if you do not have a dick and balls to get crushed, I was really hoping I was going to think of another insult, and I didn't. But yeah, Zephia. She's as bad as everything else. What the fuck are those horns? Like, look, okay, I know bitching about Engage character designs is the most, like, the people that already hate them don't have anything to add, and the people that like them aren't going to be convinced. I get that. What the fuck is that moon? Like, I kind of get it. Her whole thing is about wanting a family, being a mother. The moon represents womanhood and motherhood and shit. But isn't there a better way to put that in your design than that? God. Alright. Anyways. Veil. I actually don't know what this would become. I can't think of anything named Veil. Yup, it's Vale. God, do you remember that one person that posted on Twitter and was like, Fire Emblem has a problem with sexualizing young characters, and they put Vale? And that's the biggest case of, like, you have a valid argument, but what the fuck is with your choice in how you present it? Because Vale is not that. You could have put Naui. If you just put Naui, your entire argument would have been made. But they put Vale for some reason. It made me want to defend Engage. And that's how you know you've done something horribly wrong. Like, how do you get me to do that? I have nothing to say about Vale. That's why I thought of that. Alright, Sombron. Last but not least. I love that a lot of people in the community were like, his emblem of origins, or whatever it was, his Kaga. They're like, that's just funny. And his dragon form looks really cool. That kind of, like, cross between a cobra and a dragon looks fucking cool. Going from shitting on Engage designs to praising them, credit where credit is due, Sombron's dragon form is absolutely immaculate. No notes. Mwah. I do like how his backstory is basically, I'm a whiny, lonely bitch, and the game's just like, shut the fuck up, that doesn't justify a goddamn thing. And he's like, huh. It's pretty good. He has that third eye thing that Tien Shinhan has, and that's dope. Alright. Lastly, Barry Goodman from Tokyo Mirage Sessions. You might be asking yourself, Barry isn't a villain. He's a hero. He works with you. Barry Goodman is a fucking pedophile, and he needs to have a fucking giant sign on him at all times that says people under the age of 12 should not be near me. I hate Barry Goodman. Who's the most famous Barry? Cool, some TV show? I don't care. Barry Goodman. He's some dude from Breaking Bad. Great. You probably sell meth to underprivileged communities. You're a better human being than Barry Goodman. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. He single-handedly brings Tokyo Mirage Sessions down like an entire letter grade. Fuck Barry Goodman. I have been waiting this entire episode to yell about Barry Goodman. Thank y'all for just letting me do that. I really needed to get that off my chest. Also, shout out to Engage. The only villain that changed was Marnie, and she became a fucking flip-flop. And now, I think it's safe to say, this series is done. Like, done. Sure, I didn't do an episode on Radiant Dawn, I guess, but that's like 10 characters that are unique. What? Micaiah, Edward, Nolan, Meg, Fiona, Danved, Volg, Nyla, Raphael. Actually, there's maybe a bit more than I remembered. Gareth, Vika. That's 11. Liar. That's like Kaiser. That's like 13. Am I forgetting any? Oh, Lahram, but I already covered him. Oh, Renning. Okay, maybe there were a bit more than I remember, but still too few. So thank you. This series has finally been bookended. Until the next Fire Emblem. Oh, I guess I could do Heroes. I can't fucking do Heroes. How the fuck am I gonna spell some of them fairy ladies? Like, goddamn. And they're all like Norse figures anyway. I'm just gonna get a bunch of Norse gods. And also Bruno from that Disney movie. The ending of this video completely trailed off. Thank you very much for watching. It feels nice to finish a series. Now, how about that If Old Characters Had Personal Skills video series I used to do?